Hello, my name's Ildiko and I'm a first aid for mental health instructor with NUCO. I'm also a clinical psychotherapist and psychologist, and I have 20 years private clinical practice behind me. But I want to talk to you today about the Supervising First Aid for Mental Health course which I deliver, and why it's so important for you as decision makers within companies and organisations to be thinking about getting that training. The Supervising First Aid for Mental Health course is a 2-day course, and what it encompasses is getting to understand about common mental health conditions that may very well be affecting your staff or your employees. Mental health has become a hot topic in current times, and unfortunately levels are rising. So more and more people are experiencing mental health conditions, especially things like anxiety and depression. So the likelihood of you having staff members who are struggling with these problems is very likely. And so the course covers common mental health conditions, including drugs and alcohol and self-harm, eating disorders, as well as the more common conditions like anxiety and depression. It also teaches you how to have a safe and appropriate conversation within a format which is empathic, it is non-judgmental, and it also helps you to be able to signpost your staff members for the appropriate help that they can get afterwards. So you may wonder why this course is appropriate and necessary for your top tier staff. So this is really meant for your managers, your supervisors, and decision makers within your company and organisation. And one of the reasons for this course being so important is that currently the UK is expending £300 billion on poor mental health. The NHS is overstretched with people who are going to be referred for mental health conditions, and in fact many people are not even able to get those referrals. We are really in the middle of a mental health crisis, and that obviously filters through to your companies and organisations, and you will come across situations that you may not at the moment know how to deal with. So it's very important for decisions to be made in the right way, and to make sure that staff feel valued, appreciated, and that you have done everything you can to make sure that they are well within the workplace. So within the course for Supervising First Aid for Mental Health, there are core skills that attendees will learn. And these include what goes into the format of a safe and appropriate conversation with a staff member. So first of all, there's a very difficult question, but it has to be asked. And most people are terrified of asking it, but it can be asked in the right way. And that is whether somebody feels that they may be thinking about taking their own life. Sadly, suicide rates are rising in certain industries faster than in others, but we are seeing an increase, and we have to do something about this. So we need to have that question asked in the right way. Secondly, those attendees on the course will learn how to have an empathic and non-judgmental conversation, and also encouraging that staff member to open up and express what is actually happening to them. Because there's a lot of stigma around mental health, and a lot of people will not tell you what is going on because they're worried. They're worried that they will be stigmatized by colleagues, that they may find that their role or their job will be compromised if they reveal something about their mental health state. And so it's very important that they feel comfortable and they feel safe. Also, it's important to listen, because listening is not one of those skills that many people are very good at. So learning how to listen non-judgmentally will be skills that are taught within and covered within the course. And signposting, knowing how to recognize the mental health conditions, will then lead you to be able to signpost appropriately for the best sort of help that your staff members will need. So how does this training help to create a healthier workplace? Well, when staff members feel valued, appreciated, and that they are supported, they are much more likely to be loyal to a company or organization because they feel that they are actually having a valued time at work, no matter what that work is, whether they're working from home, they're working in the office, they will feel that they are actually being supported. So doing this training, and for them to know that there's somebody there who is trained up to help them if they have an issue, is very important for building a robust and healthy culture within a workplace. They will understand that if they are concerned about a colleague, for instance, that a behavior pattern is showing up with a colleague, that they can have a conversation which is not a conversation about punishment or finger pointing. It's about support and what can be done to help, because it's always about finding solutions. That's the important thing. So an empathic, supportive, value-led culture will be created if you have key responders who are mental health first aiders and supervisors of mental health first aid within a company, so that problems are nipped in the bud before they become a crisis and lead, quite often, unfortunately, they lead to an employment tribunal. And we know that with the employment bill that things are changing with regards to the whole landscape of employment, which means that as decision makers, you need to be even more on top of understanding what is actually going on with your staff members. Also, to know about the mental health acts and legislation will give you a framework to be able to make the appropriate and right decisions for staff members if that is what is required. So the whole company culture is upgraded. You're raising the bar when you actually do this training, and it really helps across the board with lifting morale, lifting staff retention, and helping people to go off on long-term sick leave as well, which affects teams. It affects every level of the company when somebody is off on long-term sick leave and they're leaving a gap, which we want to avoid as much as possible. And this training helps for you to avoid that within your company and organisation. So the Supervising First Aid for Mental Health course is a 3-year certificated course. The accrediting body is Mploy, and when you get your certificate, it will be from NUCO training, and it is awarded by the FAA, which is the First Aid Awards.